No sé si me dejan entrar.
No lo dejan pasar por el puente, usted no deja y venimos a hablar para que lo dejen pasar por la trocha. No puede grabar, oye. Guarde esa cámara porque lo joden.
We are at the border. Situation here is very tense. I'm holding the camera with my hand. I'm in Venezuela after all. What's cooking, boys and girls? I'm here in Villa de Rosario, a Colombian town, and we're about a 10-20 minute walk from the Venezuelan border. Over there behind those mountains is Venezuela. We're gonna go there in a minute, but first, let's go to Institución Educativa La Frontera. Over here behind me is Institución Educativa La Frontera, which is a school that every single day the students come across the border from Venezuela and study here. So let's go inside and have a look. Ellos, las mamás que esperan por sus niños. ¿Pero por qué?
Tienen una reunión a las 8 allá en el comedor.
Pero los niños llegan y vuelven solos desde Venezuela cada día.
No, por ahorita vienen los padres a llevarlos.
Ah, bueno.
Pero en estos días se pone a funcionar el transporte. Entonces los buses los recogen aquí con un supervisor y van y los entregan allá en el puente.
Entonces los jóvenes llegan con sus padres, pero los
primeros días.
Ah, sí, hoy es la primera día,
mientras
¿no?
la gobernación firma los contratos. Ya por ahí en marzo empiezan los buses a traerlos y a mediodía los recogen y traen los de la jornada de la tarde.
Sí, igualmente en la pandemia la frontera estaba cerrada, pero estudiantes llegan. Pasaban.
Los que estaban presenciales.
Sin problema. Sí.
Porque habían otros que no los quisieron mandar presencial y estaban virtuales. Siga.
¿Todos los estudiantes acá en esta escuela desde Venezuela o hay también desde Villa de Rosario?
Sí, también hay de Villa de Rosario, pero la mayoría vienen de Venezuela. O sea, ellos son venezolanos.
Sí.
Son venezolanos y los recibimos acá y ese papeleo de que ellos tienen que tramitar los papeles, eso ya se lo dice el rector porque no sé cómo es. O sea, ellos tienen toda la vida, o sea, hasta 11, ellos, hasta cuando terminan el colegio, ellos pueden traer los papeles, porque si no, no se pueden graduar. Sí, ellos tienen que, supongo que allá tienen que presentar que están matriculados acá para poder pasar y que no los molesten.
Los estudiantes que no tienen los documentos te dejan a estudiar acá, ¿sí?
Sí, los dejan.
En general, la idea acá es apoyar los
inmigrantes, claro.
Sí, pero es también con cosas como comida o...
Sí, aquí hay restaurante escolar y los que salgan beneficiados les dan la alimentación. También llegan varias ONG que se vinculan y les hacen diferentes cosas a ellos, actividades.
Pronto me voy a la frontera.
Ah, allí.
Sí. ¿Piensas que estará tranquilo o no?
Pues realmente no sé.
No sé.
Pero
No
sé
sabes.
que ya están pasando por el puente. Ya es más fácil, porque antes ese puente estaba cerrado, pero realmente no sé cómo esté ahorita abierto.
Bueno, vamos a ver.
Pero en el puente usted encuentra tranquilidad. Donde no encuentra tranquilidad es en las trochas, por donde camina la gente. Ahí sí es más
la
duro.
contrabando.
Ajá, y ese es más difícil.
Sí.
Entonces, mejor se acerca al puente, que es donde está policía, dian guardias, todo así. Pero si usted se va a las trochas, pues es un poquito más riesgoso.
Gracias.
Bueno, que esté muy bien.
Muy bien,
Que por favor abran los baños. ¿Listo? Porque yo ya puse un mensaje. Cuéntame.
Este colegio es una iniciativa de la gobernación colombiana. ¿Y hace cuánto tiempo existe?
55 años de funcionamiento, pero con sede nueva desde el 2015 acá.
Entonces todos los profesores y el director trabajan por el gobierno.
Todos son oficialmente nombrados por la Secretaría de Educación del Departamento Norte de Santander. Yo soy coordinadora. De la jornada de la mañana.
Ok. Bueno, muchas gracias.
Bueno, con gusto.
¿Conductor?
¿Para dónde va?
San Antonio.
¿Aquí?
Sí.
Sí, claro.
¿Cuánto cuesta?
Bueno, 4.000 pesitos de aquí a allá. ¿Qué parte de San Antonio? Ah, pero San Antonio no es pasando. Ah, pero yo no puedo pasar.
¿No puedes pasar?
No, pasa al puente. Yo lo dejo ahí hasta el puente.
Al puente, bueno.
Sí, ahí la entrada ahí.
Sí. Bueno, no sé si me dejan a entrar. Yo...
¿Y allá dónde es? ¿Es de Estados Unidos?
Israel.
De Israel. Pues póngale cuidado, si no lo dejan pasar por el puente, usted me avisa y venimos a hablar para que lo dejen pasar por la trocha.
Ah, bueno. Sí, está bien.
Yo lo espero y si alguna cosa, pues...
So the idea was to cross like a Colombian through the bridge because they very rarely check the Colombians, and to come back by la trocha, which means by trail, which means illegally, under the bridge. The reason that I didn't go both ways illegally is because it's pretty damn expensive and I don't have much money. So when the Colombians enter Venezuela by the bridge, it's very, very rare that they check your documents because that's not the issue here, Colombians entering Venezuela. They do it pretty often, the ones that live here. Okay, so we're at the border. Situation here is very tense. I'm holding the camera with my hand because lots of people noticed that I was filming. Told me not to. This is the guy that brought me over there. And yeah, this is it. So I was walking with a Colombian motorbike taxi driver. He was coming with me, I think because he wanted to be the one to take me back illegally and, you know, make his profit off of it. By wearing a mask, it's way less likely that they'll realize that I'm a foreigner over here. We went past the entrance to Venezuela. It was getting very hard to film because nobody films there. Even before, people were telling me off. And when I arrived to the gate, really to enter San Antonio, is where they stopped me. There were two lost policemen, and one of them stopped me and asked for my documents, assuming I was Colombian. Found out I'm not. Was super surprised to see an Israeli there, of all nations. Took me into Venezuela, but straight to the police station. So I did get to see Venezuela, just a little bit, just a tad. Inside the police station, they were a bit rough at first. They took me into this room, a dark room with a lamp. I thought like, oh my God, I'm gonna get the shit kicked out of me. So I'm currently being interrogated by the Venezuelan police. Let me show you the room. I'm going to send this to one of my friends, and they're gonna send it back to me. Shout out to Dave Legenda and Elliot, Adventure Elliot. This is the room, and they have the Venezuelan flag here and stuff. So let me stop recording before they fucking kill me. They just sat me down. They said, all right, man, pay some bribe and we'll let you go and everything will be fine. Well, I knew this was coming, so I purposely didn't bring a lot of money. I brought around 100,000, 150,000 Colombian pesos, just enough to return illegally into Colombia. Because as I said, the Venezuelans, when they enter Colombia, get scrutinized. The Colombians entering Venezuela don't. I didn't bring much money. I didn't bring my passport on purpose. I only bought a picture of it because I knew that they can take that away too. Basically, they asked me for money. I said, well, this is all I have. At the beginning, they didn't quite believe me, and they made me take off all my clothes, well, except for my underwear, and searched me, like my socks, inside my shoes, under my soles, and no, they didn't find any more money. And then they decided to just leave me there in the station for a long ass time. I was there for maybe 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. at least. So I went to the bathroom to take a mean ass shit, and then I saw that there is no toilet paper anywhere to be found. And then I realized that I'm in Venezuela after all. And toilet paper here, it's literally cheaper to wipe your ass with cash. So it's crazy, I totally forgot about that. But I don't know, how do they do it here? I mean, there's no, well, in Asia you have a bump gun, which is like you spray water into your ass and then it kind of cleans it, but I don't know, they have nothing here. Like what, do they just take a shower after every time they go to the bathroom? Anyway, I'll stop recording before. Yeah. So after the immigration police asked me for bribe, a lady cop entered the room, just started like chatting with me. She took my Instagram. She was looking through my story highlights on Instagram. She was saying, oh, you've been to Africa. Where's Ethiopia? I said Africa. And she said, oh, cool, you've been to Africa. You've been to Thailand. Wow, que chimba. So I kind of made friends with her, even flirted with her quite a bit. Invited her to have a beer with me in Cucuta, over here where I am right now. She obviously said, I work all the time now, I don't have time for it. But yeah, I was just trying to, like, you know, become friends with everyone. So after I did kind of become friends with her, then I started chatting up the policemen as well. After some time, we were just kind of cracking jokes. They were calling me the Zohan, like from the movie Don't Mess with a Zohan, because I'm Israeli. Yeah, I had a pretty good time in the police station, not gonna lie. And they treated me pretty well. By the time I became like friendly with them, there was an abuelita there cooking some chicken wings and chips and stuff for the police. And I just straight up, I asked her, hey, can I have a wing? She said, yeah. So I had a wing, and then I said, hey, can I have a little cup of coffee? Is that possible? She said, well, yeah, you can. That's what I was doing. I was just like munching there. Sí.
Es que como estamos entrando gente, ¿sí? Nos podemos correr como un poquito.
Ah, sí, bueno. Terminar en como 5 minutos, ¿está bien? ¿Puedo seguir así?
Ok.
Bueno, y si no, me voy a mover.
Dale.
Gracias.
Okay.
After some time, the police were all having lunch, and then they just invited me to have lunch with them. It was bizarre. I was having some really tasty chicken wings and chips and a salad. I mean, like a 3-course meal. They even gave me gaseosa. I don't think they would have treated everyone that well, but yeah, I guess I was lucky, and I was just making them laugh.
¿Cuánto tiempo tienes para grabar?
OnlyFans? OnlyFans?
Sí.
Todavía no.
¿Tú? ¿Todavía no?
Todavía no.
Chaki. Es lenta, ahorita que vas a salir diciendo, voy saliendo de Venezuela.
At one point, I even fell asleep in the police station. I fell asleep on my chair, and then I was like, I realized that I'm falling asleep, so I went into the room where they interrogated me and put my head on the table and slept for like 2 whole hours, 2 straight hours. I woke up, the table was soaked with my fucking saliva. I woke up from them looking for me, like calling my name, Ido, because apparently they were waiting for the jefe, for the boss, in order to make a decision what to do with me. And then they call me, and I wake up like my face looking ridiculous. Then they said, okay, we've come to a conclusion that you're going to be banned from Venezuela for 3 years. I sent them the picture of my passport by WhatsApp. They kind of sorted it out in their office. Basically, I'm banned from Venezuela for 3 years. I got the little document. They took it to the Colombian migration. I'm now back in the Colombian migration. I think they're gonna go and fetch my passport to give me a black stamp for Venezuela. Then I went with them. We dropped by the house of the friend that I'm staying at. I took the passport.
¿Saben llegar allá de su amigo con el que tiene el pasaporte? ¿Saben llegar?
Tengo la dirección. Sí.
Vamos allá entonces.
Bueno.
Tengo el pasaporte como puta.
You cannot imagine how shocked his mother and sister were when they suddenly saw me showing up with the cops and saying, I just gotta take my passport really quick. Sorry about that. Tranquila, no pasa nada. But yeah, it was like a really funny thing. I kind of felt bad. Then the Colombian migration police took me to Cucuta, where I am right now. We went to the migration office. I think they were supposed to put a black stamp in my passport, as in don't enter Venezuela, but they didn't. So I'm really glad, because a black stamp is a big no-no. I mean, if I were to travel anywhere, basically, with a black stamp in my passport, then that would be the first question that they would ask. How come you have a black stamp for Venezuela? Like, who is this guy? Like, what are you, a spy? Those were the same questions they were asking me in Venezuela, by the way. They were saying, at the beginning, when they were still aggressive, they were saying, like, what the fuck, man? Like, are you an Israeli spy? So if I had enough money to bribe them, then I would probably get away with it. They would just send me back. But because I didn't, then they had to kind of enforce the law. And they said this to me, that it's mostly because I am Israeli. I should have shown a picture of my Romanian passport, and I thought of that from the start because Romania has visa-free entry to Venezuela and good relations with it, but I didn't. Yeah, that was a big mistake. Moreover, Maduro, the current president, kicked out the Israeli ambassador from Venezuela, from the Israeli embassy in 2006, during the 2006 Lebanon war. So they're very, very pro-Palestine, and they really don't like Israel. But the people in Venezuela don't care that I'm from Israel. They just see me as a person. I mean, that was my experience with the police they released and the Venezuelans that I met. Which honestly, some Arab countries around the world should take an example from. People are not their government, you see. I don't make decisions over there in Israel-Palestine tensions, whatever. Un mensaje por los venezolanos. Perdón por darles una arrechera. Solo quería probar una cachapa por primera vez. So for now, I'm banned from Venezuela for 3 years. But I'll definitely go there in 3 years when my ban ends. And to be honest, I don't know how real that ban is, since I didn't get a black stamp on my passport or nothing like that. But for now, see you in 3 years, Venezuela. So if you want to see me in 3 years in Venezuela, you better tap that motherfucking subscribe button down there. ¿Puedo preguntarte?
Le voy a explicar muy rápidamente. Este sitio es un sitio de la década de los 40, o sea, tiene 80 años de magnitud este sitio, tiene 27 metros de altura. Se construyó porque en esa época en Colombia se generaba mucha violencia entre los partidos políticos tradicionales, liberales y conservadores. Norte de Santander y Cúcuta principalmente siempre han sido muy católicos, muy creyentes. Había un padre muy famoso en esa época, el padre Daniel Jordán, que es el que se le ocurre la idea de la construcción del monumento. Se pide permiso al Vaticano porque para construir un monumento hay que pedir permiso al Vaticano. Le otorgan el permiso y por medio en esa época de las señores de la alta sociedad en Cúcuta reúnen los fondos para hacer la construcción del monumento. El 27 de octubre de 1947 es la fiesta del Cristo Rey y es la fiesta de la inauguración del monumento. Entonces nosotros somos seguridad y control en cuanto a bioseguridad por la situación del COVID de acá del monumento.
Ah, bueno, muchas gracias.
No, cualquier situación, cualquier cosa, a la orden, con mucho gusto, bienvenido, sigas a su casa.
Bueno, gracias,
Welcome.
muchas gracias. Qué chévere la vista.
Beautiful.
Sí, ¿verdad?
Beautiful, wonderful.
¿Cómo se llama?
Ese que ves allá es el cerro, se llama Cerro Tasajero. Es uno de los cerros más famosos de Cúcuta. Por eso se ve tan nuboso, porque es que allá hay muchas minas de arcilla, ¿sí? Entonces,
Sí.
dentro de eso, o sea, para subir esa montaña lo que uno encuentra es eso, minas de arcilla. Por eso se ve así como tan opaco y tan oscuro. Hacia la parte de allá son los cerros que colindan con el vecino país, con Venezuela. Entonces, una parte es allá, que eso es la parte para colindar con Venezuela. Hacia allá también otra parte para colindar con Venezuela. O sea, son dos puntos, este y ese de allá.
Sabes que yo estaba en Venezuela ayer, pero yo quería entrar como los colombianos, porque no pregunten los colombianos cuando llegan. Y yo estaba en la estación de policía todo el día.
Ah, ok. ¿Ustedes norteamericanos?
No, estoy desde Israel.
Ah, Israel,
Sí.
oh, por favor, este país tan hermoso, tan bello.
Ah, gracias.
Y donde se habla que sucedieron muchos hechos de nuestra Biblia para nosotros los católicos, sucedieron muchos hechos en Israel.
Sí, sí. Thanks for watching, and I love you. From Cúcuta, Colombia. By the way, here in Cúcuta, a lot of the cars came from Venezuela. And they have the Venezuelan license plates. Because it's cheaper to buy them over there and bring them over here.